Hey everyone, this morning a new marketing campaign started for MLB The Show 25, and I kind of want to talk about why I'm sort of worried about this game. So this is kind of, half video games, which I'm really into, and half baseball, which of course I'm really into. So my first MLB The Show was MLB 20, and that one was like, okay, I got in like halfway through, but I really enjoyed it as my first one. And then since then, personally, like I've never really felt like any of them since then. Not that 20 was that good, like were good. So 21 comes out and it's like, whoa, this is awesome. I believe that was the first year with the it's not called Prestige system, but it's the man, what is it called? Where you level up the cards to level 5, which is really cool. But that one had a lot of issues with like power creep and stuff, and them releasing a lot of like really good pitchers early. So when you went online, that was the only pitchers you faced and stuff like that. So that was 21, and then it was like, okay, if they fix this, 22 is about to be a banger. 22 is one of the worst games I've ever played. 22 sucked. 22 was really bad. They started getting really, really greedy. And that was one thing MLB The Show was known for, was how sort of, I hate using the G word, generous. I don't really like that word, especially in like a mobile game-esque type thing where it's like they're creating this value or whatever, this perceived value. It's not really like anything, substantial, but it was really easy to make a full team of like really high diamonds for easy and cheap, and it was really, that was one of its main features almost, in outside of like in the community, because obviously they can't really advertise like we're not, we only have minimal microtransactions or whatever, but 22 is terrible. 22 is really bad. It got really power creepy, really sort of pay to win and stuff like that. So 23 comes out and it's even worse. And we just have this trend of like, okay, it comes out and it's like the previous game. It's like, okay, the previous game is really cool, but if you fix a few things, it'd be even better. And then they don't even fix those things and they just make worse stuff on top of it. So now we're on this like huge pile after like 3 or 4 years of it going down the drain, where they have to like just get rid of all this stuff that piles up to even get to the issues that would really help or really help the game, be better. So this year is 25. Last year, 24 is probably the least I've ever played of an MLB The Show. I was just pretty bored and out of it. It was, they did seasons, and that was something I believe they introduced in 23 a little bit. And it was just really terrible. The seasons did not feel fun. It was just sort of an expedited process of like restarting the game over and over. So you kept losing your team every 3 months, really bad. And we just wanted normal power creep, as in sort of, because power creep in this game is sort of a different term than like when you think of other power creep sort of things in video games, where in this, what a lot of people refer to when they mean power creep in MLB The Show is sort of how the season or the game starts and everyone, like the highest guy you can get is like an 80, 86, and over time it increases, I think it was 23 where their whole thing was you can get 99s from the start, which was not fun. That was not good. So anyway, 24 was the least I've ever played of a MLB The Show game. And then 25, people are sort of hyped because they said there's not going to be any seasons, which is cool. I like that. I think MLB The Show kind of gets into this space and issue where it is such a national game, like who's going to be on the cover, and we'll get to that in a second, and stuff like that. Hold on, I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. Alrighty. So, a lot of people that like aren't even really going to play or don't even play Diamond Dynasty, which is like the whole team builder mode, are going to be into the first maybe like month of the game and all the preamble before the game comes out, where it's like the cover athlete and all this stuff. You know what I mean? So um, you can kind of get lost in this like hype, I guess hype train or hype like chamber where it's like this game's gonna be better. And I get that too. I 100% get that too. Last year when they showed Andrew Miller, new legend, I mean that's the best thing from last year, 100%. But you got to lock in. You got to be like, wait a minute. Are they actually gonna change stuff? And they didn't. But anyway, so this year there's not gonna be any seasons, which is really good. But to me, this is just my opinion, it's starting off on a bad foot. So this morning, they started the marketing campaign. And what they're doing, so the first video that came out was Ellie De La Cruz posting, I think it was on Instagram, saying that he's the new cover athlete for MLB Show. And initially, a lot of people were like, oh, he released this early. Like that, because Ellie makes so much sense. He's a, really, really fun young player. He's pretty good. And he's just a very like like attractive in all senses, like baseball character, where he's a fast runner, he's tall, he hits ish, he steals bases, all the fun stuff of baseball, So that, okay, cool, that makes 100% sense, easy peasy, Then we get a video of Gunnar Henderson, who's another, in that sort of vein, like young player, who, I mean, he's less fun than Ellie, come on. But, still really good, probably maybe arguably better than Ellie, and he's like, oh, I'm the cover athlete. So when that came out, it was like, oh, okay, Gunnar Henderson's just kind of making fun or whatever, he wanted to be the cover athlete, whatever, Then the third video is where it's like, oh, this is just a stupid marketing scheme. Is Paul Skeens, famously a great speaker and very out there, does a video and he says, no, he's the cover athlete. And that's when we realize, oh, this is just a stupid marketing scheme, because Paul Skeens is a terrible actor. He is not a very outgoing guy. Whenever you see him in like non-baseball interviews and other stuff like that, he's just very very like this and reads the script. He's like obviously reading the script like this. You know what I mean? And that, baseball players are not paid and do not need to be these public speakers. Like 100%, it's not his fault, But there is sort of an element of like, if you know that that's how this guy is, why would you like get him to do this whole marketing thing? And also like when it's the whole point of it is sort of like a joke to like, or not a joke, but like, oh, because it's going to be like, oh, we're going to have 3 cover athletes. You pick it's going to be like, pick your Pokemon version, Gunnar Henderson, orange, Ellie De La Cruz red, stuff like that. But it's sort of like, he kind of ruined it because he's not a good actor. But anyway, I like Paul Skeens. He's well, I don't know. I'm neutral on him. So anyway, but I don't care about the cover athlete. This is all to say. I'll say this. I don't care about the cover athlete. I just want them to add really good new legends. I want them to improve the graphics because the game still looks like it's from 2014. And I just want the game to feel fun again and feel like there's a reason to go and play like every week. Because that was one thing that's been happening, is how it's like, it almost feels like the content has gotten more stagnant and stale, where it's like, okay, we get something maybe every like 3 weeks. And also the cycles end really fast. Like this year, and by cycles I mean sort of the whole game season, and like a cycle ending being like when new content stops for say 24, and then the new marketing stuff starts for 25, like we used to, like in 2021, we used to get new like relievers and stuff in like February. And that's not even, I mean, we haven't even sniffed that recently. So anyway, I hope the game's good. I personally will probably not be buying it. Number one, because like now I've been playing on my Xbox. My Xbox like not in my room anymore. I brought it downstairs, and they don't release a PC version, which kind of sucks. But also just Greggy's not in it either, which is one of my things I always like doing was getting Greggy, getting him to level 5 first. 1 year I got him number 1, and 1 year I got him number 2. And stuff like that. But he's not going to be in it unless they get him as a legend, which would be cool. But so we'll see. They need to make really big improvements to the game for me to want to get it. But yeah, if you are excited for 25, I hope it's going to be good. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. If there's anything that sounds or looks cool, I probably will look into getting it. We'll see. But just kind of want to talk about that. The marketing stuff happened. I was just like, guys, come on. What are we doing? At least get someone that's good at acting, right? Paul Skeens, come on. He's just like, hey, Ellie, I'm I'm exaggerating. You guys can watch for yourselves. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.